Ever since the non-black people have gotten their hands on the word unk, I've just been seeing it spammed and used any which way. And it actually irks my soul to see AAVE being used incorrectly. Because why are we calling someone who's 26 an unk? Like, actually, what are we doing? Y'all don't know what an unk is or how to appropriately use unk at all. And now all the old, young unk talks have just gotten out of hand online. I would see those videos of people asking a bunch of 19, 20-year-olds what year is old to be born in. And they talking about the year 2000. Huh? You mean to tell me that the people who are turning 25 are old? Mind you, that's going to be you in 5 to 6 years. So you're telling me you're going to be an unk in a few years at the age of 25. That's the answer I'm expecting from a kindergartner. Matter of fact, that's almost the answer I got from my 11-year-old cousin. He said I was going to be an unk soon, or auntie at this case, because I was going to be 25 and that's close to 30. But what does an 11-year-old know? I used to think 35 was old at that age. But real talk, let's get this unk stuff nipped in the bud. No one under 40 is an unk. I seen like a couple of YouTubers I follow on Twitter, they were turning 34 and people was calling him an unk. And I was just like, no. And you're white. So like, double no. Unk is a black term, so I'm not gonna lie. Y'all non-blacks, y'all gonna have to come up with your own slang. And I'm not even gonna fully explain what makes someone an unk because I like to gatekeep. But since we here, unk status starts bare minimum in the mid-40s. You're gonna need to get some gray hair before we even begin to be calling somebody an unk. And it's not just uniform either. Everyone is not an unk. All I'm going to say is, you know an unk when you see one. And unk topics aside, I think we need to have a discussion about what actually is old. Because to me, it seems like the bar is getting lowered. I don't know if because I'm no longer one of the teenagers on the internet, I'm in the young adult category. But I remember when I was 17 and I would see like some 27-year-old on the internet and I used to think like, bro, what are you doing? I would see like people in their mid-20s arguing in the comments. And I would just wonder, what were they doing online? Leave that stuff to the teenagers. And I just used to think they were too old to be on the internet. How I would see 19-year-olds telling like somebody in their late 20s that they don't need to be playing COD. They're too old to play COD or something. And realistically speaking, they're most definitely not too old. Just not a part of the main demographic anymore. I remember seeing the go start a family comments. But now being close to 27, I realized that it's not as polished as you think it would be. Because they're still trying to figure it out too. It's just like when you were in middle school and you would see the high schoolers and you used to think they were so cool because they were just bigger than you. Until you got to high school and it's just like, oh, it's the same thing. So we're still going to engage in our hobbies. And if anything, probably more because we have more money. And especially if you don't have kids. All we have is time when we get off work for the most part. Like, I can still chronically be online, have a life, and a full-time job. And to be honest, this is like the most time and money I've ever had. I can do whatever I want when I get off work. So if I want to sit and scroll through Twitter and TikTok all night, I can. And that's why I don't get this misconception of you're too old to be playing video games or whatever, or enjoying some of your hobbies. You just don't magically stop wanting to collect Pokemon cards because you turned 30. I don't know why online culture and society have people being scared to grow older or scared to age. That's just a way to life. Maybe because I had an uncle who passed away when he was 29, and that changed my perspective. I remember when my mom turned 40, and I didn't want her to like I was gonna change anything. And she looked me dead in my eyes and said, "Do you want me to drop dead right now?" Obviously, no. And then that's when she told me, you either die young or you grow old, and I'm gonna continue to live. And ever since then, I didn't have any more thoughts. I see people all the time dreading turning 30. And in my head, I always think of NBA players entering their primes, especially in your early 30s. That's your peak. And even then, people are still competing in the Olympics well into their 40s and sometimes 50s. Then I look at players like LeBron and Chris Paul who are still in the NBA. Granted, they aren't moving like how they used to do, but they're still productive NBA players. And even in NBA standards, young is considered 25 and younger. So I think I'm going to be okay. And it's really your perspective. And it does take getting there, or at least someone you know getting there, to realize what is old. I remember when Michael Jackson passed away when I was 9. And I was like, y'all know, man, he lived a good life. Like, you know, it was his time. My mama just turned 50 this year. That is not old at all. That's actually pretty young. And like when I really start to think about it, I'm like, dang, like he really left this earth at 50. That is just insane to think about. That's why when I see comments of some kid calling a 28-year-old old because they're almost 30, or like how they say, oh, so-and-so looks so good at 33. Like they have one foot in the grave or something. I just shake my head. Because y'all just don't know nothing for real. Because that's going to be you one day, hopefully. It's this trend on TikTok of people naming the MVP the year they were born. And there is no way y'all are underneath the comments of an edit of Allen Iverson calling him an unk. You're telling me y'all are calling someone who's 24 old? Like, I know most of the time it's a joke. But like, nah, it get to a point. I'm starting to see the Kevin Hart gifs under posts saying they were born in 97. First of all, I'm personally not going to let anybody born after 23 get some jokes off at my expense. If anything, let's flip that on its head. You were born in 2011? I'm wondering why you're even on the internet. Because where have you been at? You missed all of Black Ops 2. You missed Prime Drake and Cartoon Network at its peak. And you're still in high school? We're in a big 2025. And you're still a teenager? Like, bruh, grow up. For real, it's getting a little embarrassing actually. You just now graduated high school? I kind of feel bad for you. So who's laughing now? Like, I'm not finna let nobody who can't even drive good call me old. Like, get to where I'm at and then we can talk. I know this video probably took a turn from what people were expecting from the title. And honestly, sometimes it be like that. I was just really getting tired of the gentrification of unk. And I fear it already may be too late. But while I was already on that topic, might as well get to my other points that I've been having. But the majority of this video is just realizing that people will always be older and younger than you. I'm not going to act like I don't fall victim to this. There was this post that I saw on Twitter the other day. This girl said she was 21 in 2006. And I was like, yo, what are we doing? That is grown in 06. The max you're supposed to be like is 12. But then I remember that people have a life, a career, a family before you were even born. I mean, the other day I found myself getting annoyed at some teenagers just getting in the way at Walmart. And I just had to think, 6-7 years ago, that used to be me just bebopping around Walmart. So, moral of the story is, time is just going to keep passing regardless. And please stop calling people under 40 an unk. Thank you for watching. Peace and chicken grease.